Yo, Woden's Day again. Start in the United States of America with weekly US conventional retail gasoline prices since 2000. Interesting chart. You've got regular and premium, and behind it in blue there is the price of crude oil, the barrel price. And although even regular now is averaging over $3 a barrel, with premium at 3.33, since a good while now the barrel price has been above those prices, and if this has happened in the past, generally it means that prices are going to be on their way up, if anything. But then you probably knew that, so expect pushing to 350, and that's not going to do anybody any good. Next chart, another Doug Short chart. Consumer Price Index, CPI without food and energy in, the one that people hate so much. And you could even say that since 1980 it's been on the down and down, and now it's around 1, and if the chart carries on the way it's going, it'll be down to 0. So everything will be as good as free. Isn't life wonderful? And CPI there is in red, the with food and energy prices, but that's not high at all either. Life is getting increasingly cheap, as you've noticed. Der Spiegel Online, a very interesting article and not as long as their normal articles, link on the website. France and Germany split over plans for European economic government. The problems in Europe, just because it's a new year, have not gone away. A couple of snips from that article. Both France and Germany want an economic government for Europe. The only problem is that they have completely different things in mind. The conflict threatens to derail any chances of progress, and they are really quite different. I'll read on from other snips. The German and the French are interpreting the summit's resolution in completely different ways. France would prefer to see the European Council, which compromises the heads of state and governments of the EU member states, turned into a kind of economic government. The Germans are focused on completely different things. Their preference would be to see the current rescue fund replaced by the so-called European Stability Mechanism in 2013, and according to this arrangement, in turn for any help, cash-strapped countries would have to subject themselves to a strict cost-cutting regimen. I'll read on and see if there's more. No, I'll slip it in here. What's happening is France, the weaker nation, would like everything grouped together so everyone can share nicely. Germany want to say that we won't just share with people, we want to, if we have to be forced into sharing with people, like Greece or Italy or Spain, we want to be able to wag the finger at them and tell them what to do with their economies first, and get them to shrink and be more German. And it's a terrible problem. Finish with politicians in Germany's ruling coalition, made up of Merkel's CDU and its Bavarian sister party, the CSU. And according to a senior CSU politician, Hans-Peter Friedrich, a new independent fund would be unnecessary. Instead, Friedrich suggests that the upper ceiling on the current €750 billion bailout fund could be dispensed with in an emergency. And this is so wonderfully German and practical. I view the talk about a ceiling as superfluous, because with or without the ceiling we will still have to do what is needed. In other words, there is a ceiling on it, but if Spain or Italy need more, well, obviously they've got to find more if they're going to do the logical thing to save the euro, which is what the politicians want to do, because they are so invested in it, and it matters not a jot what the people of Europe think. The Telegraph, co-UK, and Ambrose Evans Pritchard, overheating East to falter before bankrupt West recovers. From an overheating East to a troubled West, Ambrose Evans Pritchard offers his predictions on the global economy next year. Ambrose is a good speaker, and he really knows his stuff, but he's a disastrously bad writer. So it's unfortunate that he has these articles in the Telegraph. He would be much better as a vlogger. But things are what they are. And I'll just pull out one piece of his predictions for 2011. Ireland's Fianna Gael and Labour coalition will take its revenge on Europe for imposing such ruinous terms under Berlin's diktat. I'm not sure that they will, so any Irish people listening, if you'd like to comment, I think Fianna Gael and Labour will just go along with it merrily. Again, almost taking no notice of what anybody else wants. They will do that. It will restructure senior bank debt, setting an irresistible precedent for PASOK backbenchers in Greece. PASOK are the ruling party in Greece. Then the left-wing Partido Socialista Obrero Español. In other words, it's the first brick in the wall to be taken out and the whole wall tumbles down. Everybody wants to do these haircuts, but everybody knows that if it starts, everything falls down. Who will be the first? They say it's going to be Ireland. Personally, I can't see it. Balkans.com gives us Greek in talks with commercial banks on extending debt repayment. In other words, Ambrose can notice that PASOK don't need any shove from Ireland. They're already restructuring. But it's not like they're pulling the brick, they're just sliding it out gently. They're restructuring, as in they're due to pay something in 2 years. They'll say, well, how about we pay you over 10 years and things like that. Slippery slope. Again, Telegraph UK. Estonia steps away from Russia. No guide to others to join the rocky euro. Poland and the Czech Republic can afford to take their time before committing irrevocably to the rocky euro. But for Estonia and fellow Baltic states, EMU is a strategic imperative. I was talking about Estonia the other day, that's joined the euro. It's such a horrible history the Balkan states have had, frighteningly horrible history, and they'll do anything to link themselves to the West because they've had such a shocking time being linked unwillingly to the East. Wall Street Journal gives us Brazil is poised to pressure Beijing on currency policy. Sao Paulo, Brazil's overvalued currency, may be turning the South American giant into a US ally on key economic issues, pressuring China to let its own currency strengthen to address global trade imbalances. Brazil are becoming more and more important. We read on, Brazil's newly appointed Trade Minister Fernando Pimentel says Monday that President Dilma Rousseff intends to put Chinese currency weakness on the agenda when Ms. Rousseff travels to Beijing in April. US officials have long accused China of keeping its currency, the yuan, artificially weak to gain an unfair advantage in international commerce. These trade wars, currency wars, have not gone away. Brazil has criticized governments that it claims manipulate their currencies, including knocking China over its weak yuan. But recently, Brazil's officials have directed their harshest comments at the United States, which is printing dollars to lower long-term interest rates. Can't keep all the people happy, can you? Guardian Co UK gives us Albert Edwards of SocGen, Societe Generale, takes a bite out of China. An interesting enough article by Niels Pratley. And a little chunk out of this is, in Edwards' view, China is a freak economy. Its investment to GDP ratio is off the scale in terms of size and endurance. In developed history, only Korea has got anywhere near being close to it. And after it got that high, Korea collapsed. He points to the OECD's leading indicator of economic activity, which measures factors such as electricity production, freight activity and money supply. And in China, it's slowing rapidly. Something has to give, and probably sooner than most people assume. Don't bet on China. He knows his stuff. Finish over in the United States of America. And the Lantern, state budget deficit threatens tuition increases. It's just a representative one of the troubles in the states. This is Ohio, and they will be going for tuition increases. Do you pay it or not? Tricky. Bloomberg, Illinois has days to plug $13 billion budget gap. Illinois lawmakers will try this week to accomplish in a few days what they have been unable to do in the past 2 years, which is resolve the state's worst financial crisis. I'm going to bet on them doing it? No, nor am I. Bloomberg, more Washington-based this. Goolsbee says failure to raise US debt ceiling would be catastrophic. This is Austin Goolsbee, chairman of the US Council of Economic Advisers, who said if Congress fails to raise the debt ceiling, the impact on the economy could be catastrophic. I don't see why anybody's playing chicken with the debt ceiling, Goolsbee said on ABC's This Week programme. If we get to the point where we damage the full faith and credit of the United States of America. That would be the first default in history caused purely by insanity. They are so full of shit, these people, it is incredible. Business Insider will finish with, and Robert Reich used to be a big hitter, and now he just tries to talk sense from the edges. The Republicans are telling a big economic lie, and Obama is letting them. Republicans are telling Americans a big lie, and Obama and the Democrats are letting them. The big lie is our economic problems are due to a government that is too large, says Robert Reich. The big lie is that our economic problems are due to a government that is too large, and therefore the solution is to shrink it, says Robert Reich. The truth is, our economic problems stem from the biggest concentration of income and wealth at the top since 1928, combined with stagnant incomes for most of the rest of us. That's what Robert thinks is the main problem. What do you think? Right.